My name's Michelle Moore and I'm something called an analytical hypnotherapist, but I'm also a holistic coach and I help people create shift in their life, and I do that through either helping them to deal with the current situation that they've got going on, or I help them to deal with stuff that's going on in the past, and quite often the two connect quite strongly together anyway. So sometimes what happens is that stuff that's gone on in the past are kept in our finding system, in our subconscious. And so anything that happens in the present, quite often that starts to connect with what's gone on in the past. And therefore the reactions, the emotional reactions that we've got of what's going on in the here and now aren't just from the here and now. They're also a culmination of what has happened to us when we were younger, teenage years, childhood years. And so what I do using hypnotherapy is I help people release what's gone on in the past so that they can let go of all of that, and then they can just move on in their life in the future and just feel freer. And so that really can help people an awful lot, lets them let go. Because I help people with anxiety quite a lot, it's something that I work with a lot. A lot of questions that, one of the first questions people ask is, am I going to be out of control? And the answer is absolutely no. With the hypnosis that you see on the stage or the hypnosis that you see on the telly, that's all already set up. That's all done. There are tests that the audience are given without knowing that they're being given it, so that the hypnotist knows the best person to take up on the stage. And actually once you're up on the stage, you're just going to go along with what's going on. Interestingly, I once had a client and I asked him, same as I ask everybody, have you ever been hypnotised? And he said, yeah, actually I was up on the stage. In fact, I've been up on the stage 3 times. I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, what's it like? He said, you know what, I knew exactly what I was doing, I just couldn't think of a good reason not to. And I think that sums up hypnosis beautifully. It's such a natural state of being. We're in and out of hypnosis every single day. If you've ever driven 2 miles down the road and suddenly thought, where did that road go? That's because you were in hypnosis. Every time you sit down and watch the television, you go into hypnosis because the mind and the body are programmed to relax instantly. And that's all hypnosis is. So when you're watching telly, you're not thinking, goodness, I feel hypnotised. You're just thinking, I feel nice and relaxed and chilled out. And that's pretty much what hypnosis is. Because it's such a natural state of being, we don't know when we're in it. It's so easy. So as far as when people come to see me and they're worried about how they're going to feel, actually I don't know how they're going to feel, because everybody's different, everybody's unique. So some people can feel really light, some people can feel really calm, other people get really aware, they get a sense of hyper-awareness so that they can hear a pin drop from 100 yards away. And all of those things are right, because all of those things are exactly what that person is experiencing. So during hypnosis, everybody is always in control, they're always fully aware, they can get out of hypnosis any time they like. If the phone rings, the doorbell goes, if they are wanting to get up and answer it, they can do. But mostly people don't want to, because they can hear everything that's going on around them, and it just seems to flow over them in a nice, calm, relaxed way, and then it's just easy. So that's usually what I say to people. It's a really nice, relaxing, enjoyable experience. So I do 2 things. I can teach people relaxation and stuff that they can do at home so that they can teach themselves to relax. Because when we are in a limbo state and when we're in a high transition in our life, everything is really, really stressful. Stress does awful things to the body, so the adrenaline is going around constantly, and that can put pressure on internal organs as well as our mind. So hypnosis itself can really help relax everything down, take everything down to really nice levels so that it's nice and calm in our mind as well as in our body. And within that, when somebody comes to me and I put them into hypnosis, not only are they nice and relaxed and their body is being taken off that fight and flight response for the first time in maybe many months, but also once we're in hypnosis, then we can get down to the programs that are creating the upset in the first place. You know, we're a bit like computers. Our conscious mind is just like the keyboard and the screen. So our conscious mind is the part that we are aware of, it's the part that we can control. And so it can be called our thinking mind, our logical mind. And it's fantastic, that part of our mind is amazing, but it's actually not the part that rules us. The part that rules us is the subconscious. So the subconscious is like the programs in the computer, it's what is running everything behind the scenes. So that's the part that hypnosis helps access. And when we can access those programs, not only is the person nice and relaxed while it's happening, so it's a nice enjoyable experience, but actually while those programs are being accessed, we can then start to change how that person feels about a situation and change how that person reacts to a situation. And that can really help them move forward with life and also help them deal with whatever is going on at this point in time during their transition as well. When the people start to break up and the relationship finally separates, that can be, this hasn't just happened in 1 week, this has been a culmination of, months and maybe years. And so by that point, the person is in high stress mode. Their fight and flight response is absolutely screaming at them from left, right and centre, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because they're in a state of such high stress that sometimes it's very difficult to know what to decide to do. Sometimes it's really difficult to make a decision that you feel is the right one when you're in that kind of stress, when you're in that high anxiety. Because actually when you're in that high anxiety, your body's not really thinking very clearly anyway, it's just getting ready to either run or fight. That's what it's doing. What I can do is I can help people calm down so that then they can start to think about things in a slightly clearer way without the emotions getting in their way. And the other thing I can do is I can just help somebody see the situation clearer simply by being able to talk to them. And when we're in hypnosis, then everything seems to be a lot clearer anyway, because the subconscious is starting to take over far more in that point in time. I think that when we're in a high emotional state, we're not logical anyway. We can't be, because we're working from a totally different part of our mind. So our emotions are never logical. Now, the two things are really important. We need both to be able to live, and we need both to have a wonderful life. So it's not that logic isn't good and it's not that emotions aren't good. But when somebody's going through a breakup and when somebody's going through a divorce, it's tapping into the real base fears that they have. One of the basic fears that people have is financial, for instance. The minute we feel that we are under attack, the minute we feel that our security is under attack, then it taps right into quite a basic program that our subconscious has, and that is one of security. And so therefore what we're asking our subconscious to do is to step out of the thing. Well, our subconscious isn't going to do that. It's there to protect us. It's there to look after us. So our subconscious is going to be sending out those signals that are saying, yeah, no, now you panic. Now you panic. Now you've got to fight. Now you've got to fight for your security. You've got to fight for your survival. And yet when we do that, as you know and I know, when we do that, actually, it's not always the best thing. Because when we do that, it's going to create a scenario that isn't going to be best in the long term. And I've found that with divorce and with separation, it brings out all of those absolute, real deep emotions that we all have inside us. And so what it does is it brings out rejection, and it brings out anger, and it brings out survival, and it brings out fear. And when all of those really crucial emotions are fueling our actions, quite often our actions aren't always the best in the long term. They might seem it short term, but they're not always best long term. I know someone once said to me, I found it really interesting, there was a really good thing that somebody once said, and it was that you need to love your children more than you hate your ex. And I really like that. And I think that it is about, because when you think about your children, actually your entire emotions and feelings are taken down to a totally different level. It's one of nurture and it's one of love, whereas when you're thinking about hating your ex, if you do, then that's kicking in your whole survival. It's kicking in the anger and the fear and the rejection and the pain. And certainly what I can do to help is to help people work through all of that. It's not to say that it's going to negate anything, and it's certainly not to condone what's gone on, and it's certainly not to ask them to forget what's gone on, but it's to help them deal with the situations and the emotions that are seemingly rule their decisions, rather than making the right decisions for long term